Assalamu alaikum everybody. Today we will continue our task one discussion, and in this video we're going to focus on line graph. As you can see on the screen, we've got a very simplistic line graph, but here is a challenge. When the line graph is too complicated with many lines, it is difficult to analyze, but if there are only two or three lines, it can be difficult with word count. So we are going to deal with the second challenge today. Let's look at the task. The graph below shows the consumption and production. Uh, the graph below shows the consumption and production of sugar in India from 2001 to 2010. So we've got 10 years, we've got consumption, we've got production. Hindistondagi shakar ishlab chiqarishni, demak, va iste'molni miqdori 2001dan 2012 yilgacha. So this blue, these ups and downs are for sugar production. The stable growth is for sugar consumption. I hope you understood. So let's analyze. The most important parts that we have to discuss in our task is the beginnings. So this is the beginning, and the ending is very important. And mid events could be analyzed and assessed by you, whether they are strong information or like visible information enough to show them in your description of task one. So here it is. If you look at this red line, there is almost no sign. Yes. So almost anything, like it is difficult to mention almost anything in the mid events. But if you look at these blue lines, here it is, here it is, here it is, and this convergence, like they got converged, is the most important part. Demak, birlashib ketdi degani converged degan ma'nodagi so'z bo'ladi ingliz tilida. So we got it kind of analyzed here 2001, here 2011. These are, if I'm not mistaken, million tons. Like it is in tons and it is in millions. So the units are in millions in general. What can we say in our overview? So if you connect the dots from the beginning till the evening, so this is an upward trend. If you connect the start with the ending, this is an increase. So both of them increased, but in two different ways. While sugar consumption increased gradually without big changes, sugar production went through a wild fluctuation. There were some significant fluctuations on the way before reaching that upward trend in general. So let's go and paraphrase our task one introduction and write our task. So here it is. Let's start. I hope everything is all right. If you do not understand something that I'm telling you, you can write in the comments and I'll do my best to explain in voice messages, which YouTube enabled from recent times. So let's go. Without further ado, we'll start and we'll try to finish it as soon as possible. I am sorry. So the line graph. For you to understand, I always name the graphs. If it's bar, I say bar chart. If it's table, I say table. If it's line or pie, I always say line graph or pie chart. Illustrates. So the line graph illustrates how much sugar was produced and consumed in India. I'm sorry, India. So we've got from to. The easiest way is between and end. So here we are, basically, between 2001 and 2011. So here is our introduction. Our introduction is ready, not too complicated, very easy to understand. And I think the basic idea or the fundamental idea of writing your introduction is to tell the reader what you are writing about. So that's the most important points. Now let's move on to overview part. Overview can be started with very simplistic words, and this is overall, ladies and gentlemen. Do not try to create something like new. Do not try to reinvent the wheel. So both in general, what did we say? The first thing you're going to talk in overview is the most general thing that you can talk about the charts. Eng umumiy narsa nima? Boshi bilan oxirini o'ylaysiz yoki eng katta big picture nima? Ikkalasi ham o'sgan, to'g'rimi? So overall, both nima deymiz? Overall, both production and consumption deylik. Production and consumption uh, increased as demerit showed general upward trends desa qanday bo'ladi? Hop. Sal yuzini to'sib qo'yapti yozgan narsani. Showed general upward trends. Demak, bo'ldi. Overall, both production and consumption showed general upward trends. And while deymiz, while garchi bunisi bunaqa bo'lgan bo'lsa, bunisi bunaqa bo'lgan degan strukturadan foydalanamiz. While nima desak bo'lar ekan? Sugar consumption demak, katta o'zgarishlarsiz o'sgan deydigan bo'lsak, while sugar consumption yoki keyinroq consumption demakda, while the amount of sugar consumed demak iste'mol qilingan shakar miqdori went up deylik, went up gradually, boya aytib o'tgandek gradually without demak bitta analiz qilib olish shunisi yaxshi, уже o'ylanmasdan ancha yozsa bo'ladi, without sezilarli o'zgarishlarsiz yoki risky o'zgarishlarsiz desak, without sharp changes deylik. Endi comma qilamiz, while tomonni yozib bo'ldik. Endi ikkinchi tomonini aytishimiz kerak. Sugar consumptionni demak mana bunaqa bo'lib ketganligini aytishimiz kerak bo'ladi. Its production deganda, its deganda sugars production demoqchimiz. Sugars production experienced dramatic fluctuation. And our overview seems to be very short, so we say in which years they fluctuated most significantly. So from 2005 to 2009, let's say, in general. Um, particularly, particularly between 2005 and 2009. Ha, demak, bo'ldi. Bizni overviewimiz tugadi. Bundoq olib qarasak, we have how many words? We can count it. So we've got 49 words, which is not that bad. I think if we can write 50-50 in both body paragraphs, we're gonna make around 150. But I think we'll be describing it in the nicest way possible so that we have not only got word counts, but also a beautiful description of this very, very straightforward task. So the best way to start your task one body paragraph is writing with years, like starting them with years. In 2001, So 2001 yilda nima bo'lib turgandi? Balantidan boshlaymiz, nasib bo'lsa. Uh, So the higher one was sugar production. So it stood at 26, around 26 million tons. Yes. So in 2001, the amount of the amount of sugar production stood at is a very good expression that you can use to describe your task one. Uh, endi точный bir konkret punktda turmagani uchun stood at approximately 26 million tons. Uh, endi prosta bunaqa deb yozyapti. You can write tons, you can write tons. It really depends on which English you're using. My computer is like corrects the words based on the American English, and because of that, there is the correction that is going for tons. Uh, and we should say it was much higher than what was consumed, yes, which was notably higher. There are degrees of difference. For example, if the difference is small, you can say slightly higher. If you think the difference is a little bit bigger than that, you can say notably, significantly. If it's too much big, you can say dramatically, something like this, which was notably higher uh, than the amount consumed, the amount consumed. And whenever it is difficult for you to write it in the grammatically correct way, it's best to open the brackets and describe the numbers in the brackets. And this makes your life much easier. So how much it was? So let's say around 22, not 23, I think. So around 22 million tons. It says tons, so let's write tons. That's basically it. We have described the first year, and this is the key part. And then we need to say that in the next following 2 years, for example, from 2001 to 2003, one went down, the other went up, and they converged in 2003. Because this is significant and noticeable moment that we have to describe. And when you don't have too much information on your charts, it is best to describe these kind of smaller details as well. In the following 2 years, comma. So in the following 2 years, what happens? Uh, there was a gradual uh, decline, or we can even say decrease in sugar production. Whereas whereas is the friends of while, so this is a very good way of describing the sentences. Whereas the other one was sugar consumption, whereas sugar consumption rose. So one declined and the other decreased. And they converged converged at, we need to say say at what amount they converged. We can say they got converged, or they converged at about 24 million tons, let's say. they converged at around 24 million tons in 2003. So our first paragraph is done, we can say. So here we are, let's go. A further decrease, a further decrease, and we will continue describing this blue line in general. So this is sugar production. A further decrease was recorded. A further decrease was recorded in sugar manufacturing. I guess it's all right to say sugar manufacturing, and in no, I'll stop this sentence here. A further decrease was recorded in sugar manufacturing. All right. In 2005, uh, it it decreased to the downest point. So what's this downest point? I mean the lowest point in the joking way. So how low it was? It was around 18, probably 18 million tons, and this is the lowest point. And when it is the lowest point, you can say hit uh, it hit a trough. Trough is the lowest point in your charts. It hit a trough of about mana shunaqa expression yodlab olsangiz bo'ladi. Eng past nuqtani desangiz, it hit a trough of about 18 million tons. Mm, qayta yana o'sib ketishdan avval desak, before o'sib ketdi, keyin qanchaga chiqdi? 33 deylik. Before recovering degan tiklanish. Before recovering and jumping to 33 million tons in 2007, let's say, 2007. So in the brackets, we're going to again whisper something to the ears of the examiner. The highest, because it is a very important moment and we have to mention that it is important indeed. So the highest figure eng baland raqam chartdagi deydigan bo'lsak, on the demak chart deb qo'yamiz, bo'ldi. So we're done with the first sentence and then we need to continue it. Yana chiqdi deyishimiz kerak. It dropped again. Yana tushdi. It dropped again to qanchaga tushdi desak bo'larkan buni. Hop, it dropped again to 21 yoki 20 dan sal balandroqqa desak ham bo'ladi. Dropped again to just about demak yoki well aboutmi? Just aboutmi? Well about. Anchagina balandroqda. Hop. Uh, well, well about, well over desak ham bo'ladi. Well over 20 million tons. Again, tons before but deylik. Before konstruksiyasidan ikkita foydalanib qo'ysak ham, and it's okay baribir. In one paragraph it sounds a little bit robotic, so let's say but it increased markedly. Markedly значительно degan, increased markedly to around okay, to around what's the number here? So 29, around 29 million tons by davrni oxirigacha deb qo'ysak, by the end of the period. So'z kam edi, lekin biz uni judayam ko'paytirib yubormadik degan umiddaman. Because it needs description. So let's write a very good description. Here we are. Uh, so we'll continue with the final paragraph, which will be quite shorter because there aren't many events, actually meaningful or significant events that we can write in our body paragraph. Anyways, sugar consumption. Sugar consumption in India. Uh, we stopped at 2003. We need to say it increased more notably than in these years, especially between 2003 and 2005. So we need to say stabilləşib qoldu desə yaxşıрақ. Sugar consumption in India became more, let's say, became more stable after 2003. Ya'ni biz o'zimizni to'xtagan joyimizdan davom ettiryapmiz demoqchimiz. Takkak u leveled off bo'ldi, bir joyda qotib qoldi, keyin ozgina o'sishni boshlashdan avval deydigan bo'lsak, since more stable after 2003, since it leveled off leveled off at 24 million demek tons. Qancha davr mobaynida desa, for the following 2 years deylik. For the following 2 years. Даже mana qaranglar, mana shu yerda stabillashib qolgan bo'lsa ham, даже undan keyin ham dahshatli darajada, sezilarli darajada o'sib ketmagan. Shuning uchun even after that desak bo'ladi, masalan. Even after that, ya'ni undan keyin ham it experienced only o'rtacha, only a moderate increase yoki growth yoki rise desak bo'ladi, and reached 28 men bu 27 bu 28 ga o'xshayapti deylik. Hop, 28 million tons in 2011. We're done, ladies and gentlemen. Our task one for this line graph is ready. So to make it visible in one screen, we're going to change it a little bit. So here you are. Let me do something like this. Here it is. Here it is. Oh my goodness, I cannot change anything here. So let's say, I'm not sure whether it will be visible in one screen or not, but this looks much nicer. All right. Here it is, and here it is. So everything is visible, I think. Here you are. Let's count the words. So how many words there are? There are 198. So we were loyal to our words. I told you that it's good. You can write as many words as you want, but around 200 is sweet spot. So here it is. We will quickly review it. The line graph illustrates how much sugar was produced and consumed in India between 2001 and 2011. Good, I think. Overall, both production and consumption showed general upward trends. While the amount of sugar consumed went up gradually without sharp changes, its production experienced a dramatic fluctuation. Particularly between 2005 and 2009. In In 2001, the amount of sugar production stood at approximately 26 million tons, which was notably higher than the amount consumed, around 22 million tons. Hop, good. In the following 2 years, there was a gradual decline in sugar production, whereas sugar consumption rose. Mana bu joyini tasvirlayapmiz. And they converged, mana mana bitta kesishdi, at around 24 million tons in 2003. A further decrease was recorded in sugar manufacturing. Mana bitta dalsha tushdi demoqchimiz. In 2005, 2005-yilda it hit a trough, mana bu joyi. Demak, it hit a trough of about 80 million tons before recovering and jumping to 22. Uh, no, 22. Who said that? 22 emas, bu 33. Qaranglar mana. Oddiygina xatoyu, lekin nima desam ekan? Uh, bu it's a it's a significant mistake da. Xo'p, to'xtanglarchi. In 2001, uh, xo'sh, the amount of sugar production stood at 22 edi to'g'ri. Pastga ketib qolibman. Xo'p, mana bu yerim 22 bo'lib qolibdi-da. Xo'sh, 33 bo'lishi kerak. Before recovering and jumping to 33, mana bitta qaranglar. 33 million tons in 2007. The highest figure on the chart. It dropped again to well over 20 million tons. Demak, yana 20dan sal ancha balandroq nuqtagacha tushib ketdi. But it increased markedly, yana значительно o'sdi to around 29 million tons by the end of the period. Okay, sugar consumption in India became more stable after 2003. Stabillashdi, chunki mana bu yerda bir xil qotib qoldi demoqchimiz. Since it leveled off at about 24 million tons for the following 2 years. Even after that, даже undan keyin ham, it experienced only a moderate increase, o'rtacha o'sishni boshdan kechirdi, and reached 28 million tons in 2001. Yeah, 2011, I'm sorry. So, ladies and gentlemen, everything is perfect apart from that factual or numerical misinformation. So, proofreading is key to success in writing part, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Barchangizga rahmat. Video yoqqan bo'lsa like bosing, do'stlaringiz bilan ulashing, kimgadir foydali bo'ladi degan umiddamiz. Xayr, salomat bo'ling.